Microcourse 6, Unit 2, Indigenous Rights, Why we need them and why they are important. Think about this. 1/3 of the Earth's surface is in the hands of indigenous peoples and local communities. And that 1/3 is healthier, more vibrant, and more biodiverse than most of the rest of the world. Could it be that way because the way indigenous peoples treat the land offers us a guide for a healthier planet? In this video, we'll explore why indigenous rights are crucial, not only for the preservation of unique cultures and knowledge systems, but also for the future of our global environment. As you watch, consider this question: how might respecting indigenous rights change the world we live in? Indigenous rights go beyond just the right to survive. They include the right to live on ancestral lands, to protect sacred sites, and to pass down cultural practices. These rights ensure that indigenous communities, representing 370 million people, 500 unique cultures, and 90 countries worldwide, have the freedom to live as they always have, deeply connected to the land. The Inter-American Court of Human Rights even declared that the land is not merely a possession for indigenous peoples. It is the basis of their culture, their spirituality, and their identity. Could we say the same about our relationship with the land we live on? For many of us, land is property. For indigenous communities, it is heritage. They are fighting for the right to protect it, not only for themselves, but for all of us. Do we understand what's at stake when we talk about indigenous rights? The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples was developed over nearly 25 years, a collaborative effort between indigenous leaders and United Nations member states. This declaration outlines the rights indigenous communities need to protect their way of life. It isn't about setting them apart, but about honoring their crucial role in managing ecosystems, protecting biodiversity, and maintaining a living connection to history. And it's about recognizing their rights as essential to the health of our planet. What would it look like if every country fully respected this declaration? How might our own communities benefit if indigenous voices guided us in caring for the earth? Did you know that nearly half of the world's endangered mammals live on lands protected by indigenous communities? In many countries, the biodiversity found on indigenous lands rivals that of protected nature reserves. This isn't accidental. For thousands of years, indigenous people have been caretakers of these ecosystems, creating and preserving much of the world's biodiversity through careful management and sustainable practices. What if this wasn't just a story about conservation but a story about survival? Could the planet's well-being rest on protecting indigenous lands? By honoring these rights, we protect not only cultural diversity, but the diversity of life itself. Indigenous peoples are also key defenders of Earth's forests. Studies have shown that rates of deforestation in areas inhabited by indigenous people are 3 to 4 times lower than in neighboring lands. Their traditional methods are not only preventing deforestation, but reducing carbon emissions and combating climate change. In northern Australia, for instance, the reintroduction of controlled forest burning by individual communities has halved the number of carbon-emitting wildfires. The methods they use are ancient, and yet they are exactly what's needed for modern climate resilience. Could it be that these practices, rooted in respect and understanding of the environment, hold some of the solutions to climate change? What can we learn from the success of indigenous land management to apply to our own communities? In Suriname, indigenous leaders took it upon themselves to declare 7.2 million hectares of rainforest as Indigenous Southern Suriname Conservation Corridor. They now act as rangers, ensuring its protection. With their efforts, the government recognized the conservation corridor, honoring their declaration and showing how indigenous-led initiatives can protect some of the world's most vital ecosystems. What if governments around the world followed this example? Could indigenous communities lead a global movement to conserve what's left of our biodiversity? In the Lake Chad Sahel region, indigenous nomadic herders live in harmony with nature through agroecology, a system that respects the natural rhythms of the seasons and the land. By moving their cattle frequently, they prevent overgrazing and ensure that the soil stays healthy. Their cattle fertilize the land as they pass, creating a regenerative cycle. Their entire way of life is based on leaving each piece of land better than they found it. In a world that often values immediate profits over long-term health, indigenous communities teach us that taking care of land is a gift to future generations. How could we apply this principle in our own lives, our own communities? Indigenous rights are more than just a legal framework. They are a promise to protect the guardians of our earth, whose knowledge and practices hold vital lessons for a sustainable future. Indigenous communities around the world are showing us that true prosperity lies not in conquering nature, but in respecting it. Imagine a world where indigenous rights were fully recognized, where land was preserved, biodiversity protected, and climate change curbed. This isn't a fantasy. It's a real possibility if we work together. So, I leave you with this question. Are we ready to honor these rights, learn from indigenous wisdom, and build a world where everyone, human and nature alike, can thrive? Thank you for watching. Join us in advocating for indigenous rights and creating a sustainable future for all. This publication was made possible through the funding provided by Global Affairs Canada under the Empowering Women and Girls project. The Commonwealth of Learning wishes to thank the contributors to this video: Kuntal Day, Sandy Heads, Francis Ferreira, Cyrus Kiduva, and Colin Zomonde.